Welcome to the Gearbox Podcast with Jimmy Purdy. We're bringing together industry leaders and those in the daily grind. Whether you're a tech looking to level up or a shop owner navigating the business, or just here for some real talk about the automotive world, we're finding the common ground in entrepreneurship and picking up some valuable tips along the way. So buckle up, let's shift into gear. Before we get started, I want to let you know the Gearbox Podcast is powered by the Repair Shops of Tomorrow. It's our exclusive coaching partner. If you're looking to boost profitability, grow your arrow, and streamline operations, RSOT has the tools and expertise to get you there. Shift your shop into the future with the Repair Shops of Tomorrow.
Yeah, we're gonna have a Napa training here today, and the trainer just got here a little while ago, and I was like, "Give me a few, man. I got to jump on a podcast real quick, and then you can take over the classrooms."
Oh,
So
that's cool.
he's out waiting in the lobby.
That's cool, man. So does Napa puts it on for you? That's funny because that's
Uh,
something I've been trying to get into as well. But obviously, with what you got going on, they probably have no problem helping you out.
yeah, man, it's pretty interesting because so I was more of a what would you call it, like absentee owner for a while. And in December, my service advisor went back to go work with her dad. So then I took over the service advisor role. And then that's when I started meeting all our vendors and all that fun stuff. And met Mark, our CSR here for Napa. And we clicked. I started talking to him. I was like, "Hey, man, so what's going on? Let's do a class." And he said, "Well, where?" And I brought him into the classroom and then showed him the shop. And yeah, we set a date for today. And today's our first one. So we're kind of inaugurating it and see what's going on.
That's rad. Are you
Yes,
gonna
sir.
be teaching it, or are you bringing in outside
Uh,
instructors?
they're they're bringing an Autel instructor to teach it. I will be teaching, but my students, and then my wife is going to be here helping with anything that the Napa guys need. But I'm going to be teaching my class in the shop.
Nice. That's
Yeah,
cool. Well,
yeah, man.
tell me more about that. I guess a little bit more of your background. Like, so you have your own training that you kind of travel around and do.
Right.
Is that kind of part of the reason why you had stepped up for the shop for a little while?
Yeah, man. So it ended up being that I I got lucky to be honest. Around 21 is when I started picking up some momentum of people knowing who Master Automotive Training and who Oscar Gomez was. And then I just started doing I've been doing training in California since 2014, just particularly emissions program, anything California license related and stuff like that. And around 2019-ish, when I moved out over here to Rancho Cucamonga, and then in 2020 when we finally opened up, we started getting a lot more traction when it came to like diagnostics training and stuff like that. And around 21, 22 is when some pretty big names like Rick Escalambre and stuff started contacting me, reaching out. And I think what really helped me meet some of you guys was going out to ASTE in 21, I believe. And that right there was kind of what just changed the whole trajectory. And I was absentee because, as you were saying, I got picked up by NGK and Dorman at the time. So I was doing some training for them. And then I came back into the shop, so now I'm full shop role and the school. So we're up since the morning and running all the way till night, 5 days a week. So it's crazy and hectic, but it gives me good opportunity to interact with the guys, see what's going on in the shop, get some good case studies, and then also teach at night. So it works out pretty well.
Yeah, it's nonstop, is what it is.
Yeah, man.
what? So tell me what landed you into like the instructor role? Like what sparked you, or like what's your background into that? How did you get into it?
It's crazy, man. You know what? When I met my wife and my girlfriend at the time, I always said that I'd never be a teacher. And when I got my emissions license here in California is what kind of changed everything for me. I went to a local school here in the city of Colton, and I met my instructor, Don Wilson, who was my instructor for that class. And we clicked, man. It was great. You know, the class was amazing. It helped me so much just going through that basic training to about a year, fast forward about a year after, I get a phone call from him and the school owner that if I would like to teach. And I laughed because it was never in my playbook at all of ever becoming an educator. And he offered to teach me how to teach and then also help me become a better technician, all at no cost. All I had to do was just volunteer my time. And I was, what, 19 years old at the time. So I said, screw it, let's try it. And that was probably the best decision I could have ever made. Don is and was my mentor, taught me everything he knew about diagnostics, using scopes and running all kinds of engine performance testing, emissions testing, five gas analysis for diagnosing. And shortly after my 21st birthday is when I got licensed here in the state of California as an instructor, him by my side, and I taught my first class. I want to say April of after my 21st birthday. So I got thrown right into the wolves, man. I got to teach a update class for emissions training here in California for about 25 technicians. So it was a pretty interesting ride from there, and I went full education around was it 2012, 2013, and then back in 2022, I had the crazy idea of reopening a shop. So it's been a pretty interesting ride ever since.
You just can't stop, huh? Just can't.
No, man.
It's
No.
like one of the things they say. How's the slogan go with educators? They say, "Those who can do and those who can't teach." Is that right?
Right. Yeah, that's what they always say.
That's just not right, huh?
No, man. You know, it's funny because when I started teaching, I would play that back in my mind and I would ask myself, am I teaching because I suck? But then I started realizing, man, that it's not true. In some instances, it might be, but in most cases, if you really dedicate yourself to a specific topic, you become really, really good at it.
Well, I
And
feel like you
that
learn more if in the process of teaching somebody else, right? Like, because you got to know it so
100%.
well, right? Like, especially what we're doing. Like, we're kind of figuring out shit every day. Like
Yep.
everything from like working on the cars to actually running the business, right? There's a lot of figuring out and going, figure it outable, right? But
Right.
if you like try to do
Right.
that and like write a procedure, like you got to know your shit pretty well to write it down and like hand it to somebody else and have them not have a question when they're halfway. Wait, what am I doing here? Like,
Yeah, exactly, right. And I forgot who I was talking to the other day. When I think it was one of my students, and he was like, how do you get so good at teaching this stuff? I was like, the best way to become good at something is teach it. And he's like, why? I was like, because then you have to figure out ways of making other people understand it or see it from your perspective. And he's like, oh, that makes sense. I'm like, yeah, if you want to get better, man, just start teaching it to other people.
it's wild, like
So
how it works that way. Well,
yeah,
same with
man,
this
definitely.
with like shop coaching too, right? I mean, I think we learn
Yeah,
more from each other than learning from some one almighty being, right?
right. 100%, man.
Yeah.
And it's funny you bring up shop coaching because without a coach, owning a shop, man, is freaking crazy. Having that coach really keeps you level-headed and focused on what you're actually doing and why you're doing it and why it's important to do things the right way.
Well, it's kind of like technical training, right? Like if you're a technician, you've never ever gone to any sort of technical training. I mean, you're
Right.
probably stuck in a box, right? And like some of
Yep.
the newer stuff is so frustrating to you that you don't even want to do it. And I feel like maybe that's the reason why a lot of techs get out of the industry because it's like, oh, another new technology, right? And it's like
Right.
it always reminds me of the story of this guy. Is this old? He's in his 70s now, but he was a local shop owner, and he remembers the first time a set of disc brakes came into the shop. Right, like he had his and he did brakes, right? Like they were drum
Right.
brakes. That's he had his tools. He knew his process. He could get them knocked out, no problem, right? And he's like, man, this technology keeps changing. And he was like, that day I wanted to walk out. He's like, I was done. I was like, I'm so sick of these cars changing, and now I got to figure out how to do this. And he's like, I'm so glad I did because I found out disc brakes are way easier. Like, I feel like that's a challenge in the industry, though, right? Like, we see all this new
Yeah.
technology, and we all want to like, we don't want to be plastic anymore. We want to like, I'm done. I don't want to learn something new anymore. But then come to
Right.
find out it's easier, right? It's like AI right now. Like to
Yeah.
segue back into the shop coaching, it's like everyone's staying away from the AI, the chat GBT. Like, I don't want anything to do with it. And then come find out, like, oh, if I learn how to use it well, it makes my life like 10 times easier. Like I
100%.
can write 100 emails a day instead of just 10.
Right.
So it's just interesting how we're so, resilient to change, resistance to change.
Exactly. That's so true, man. Because I remember my mentor mentioned that when we went from carburation to feedback carburation, he saw a lot of people leave the industry because it was too complicated. So now, fast forward 30 years and where we're at today with um, me and my foreman had a discussion the other day because we diagnosed an older feedback carburetor system, how much difficult it is without seeing live data and all your data PIDs where you actually manually have to check stuff versus a newer car today where we get over 200 data PIDs that we can analyze. So the advancements actually made our jobs easier, but some people see it as a difficulty because, like as we've been mentioning, it's lack of training or continuing education in that sense.
Just like the overwhelm factor, you know. Because
Right,
I mean, to your point of like all those PIDs that we're getting, that's kind of overwhelming if you don't know what you're looking for, right? But if you do the proper training and you know, like, oh, I just need to look, I need to watch my O2 sensors. I should watch my long term, short term fuel trim, and don't
right.
worry about the rest of the stuff because that's not what you're worried about today. Like whatever, you know. But you're right. Like I was thinking the same thing with carburetors. Like man, I can tune a car pretty good by ear, but I'm still gonna put a vacuum gauge on it, right? Like yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah. Like I'm gonna get it close, but it's like I like ultimately, like I need to check the vacuum, right? And and then I'm like, man, I just wish I could plug a scan tool in this thing because it's just so much easier to sit in the air conditioned front seat and just go through my data and find the problem instead of leaning over a hot running engine with the screwdriver, right? And
Right,
I don't
right.
understand like that the mindset of like, oh, I want to deal with that newer stuff. It just doesn't make any sense to me. It's like, dude, you should make it make sense because your life will be so much easier.
Much easier. Exactly, man. That's a key thing. And I'm actually teaching an agent performance class right now, and some of the guys were actually saying that. Like, oh man, these cars have so much more sensors. Like, do you realize that makes your job that much easier? As long as you can understand what the sensor's telling you, then that's how you're going to understand what the PCM is doing based off of that input to then carry out an output command. And then that's when you just start seeing the light bulbs going off in their head, like, damn, that makes sense, right? So it's like I tell them, we're the ones who make our jobs harder by sometimes just overcomplicating the crap out of something that we're trying to do.
That happens on the front end too.
Oh yeah.
That's sometimes you promise something that you at a certain time you probably shouldn't have, and you just made your life really freaking hard.
Yeah, man. I was like, yeah, I'll have it done end of day and then roll around 3 o'clock. He's like, dang, we're only halfway through. What's going
Why did
on?
I say that? And you did it to your damn. So you shot yourself in the foot there, man. That's nobody's fault but your damn. So
Oh yeah. Yep.
every
Done that,
aspect of
man.
this industry does it, but obviously the
Yep.
technician side of it is like the main one. Well, I think obviously the shop owners like that's where all the problems come from.
Yeah.
Obviously, I mean we're responsible for all of it, so there's no way around that.
Whether we did it or not, man, it's our
It's still your
responsibility.
it's yeah, it's
Yep.
exactly. It's not your fault. I just said I was gonna blame you. You
Yeah.
know?
You'll have to take that blame no matter what, man.
That's right.
Yep.
What's something that you found that works well with the opposition? I mean, with doing all the training you've done for the years that you've done it, what's something that really gets someone's mind to open up? Because it's the closed mindedness I feel like that really resists that urge to learn something new. And
Right.
just to your point of like all the sensors like with transmissions, like I started with governors and TV cables, right? And the governor and the
Right.
TV cable are always fighting. Whoever wins that battle means it's either upshifting or it's downshifting, right? More governor speeds and upshift, and it's like, but then you put an output speed sensor in the place of the governor, and you use TPS in place of the TV cable, and it's like, wow, that is like so much easier than dealing with all that hokey ass shit, right? Like, and so I've used that before with like with transmissions, right? But
Right.
that's a little simpler because there's not a lot going on. Is there anything that you found that makes it easier when your classes to get people to like understand that this stuff makes their life easier?
Uh, it's necessarily more one thing that I do, and I got the name from um, probably the one of the best trainers out there, Jim Morton, the 85-15 rule. And how I simplify it for the guys, because I always tell them is if I teach you guys something complicated, you're not going to want to do it. So I'm going to show you guys the most simple thing. And like Jim Morton says, and it makes perfect sense, the 85% of the cars or things on the car are the same things, just 15% is how do we use it. So what I focus more on is not telling them like, look, we got 200 different kinds of sensors. It's you have 200 sensors, but those 200 sensors in reality are just a maybe 4 or 5 different variations. It's either a potentiometer, it's either going to be a thermistor. So then getting them to understand that, if you got an intake air temp, transmission temp, fuel temp, ECT, engine coolant temp, or passenger compartment temp, those are all thermistors. So we understand how a thermistor operates, then we're able to look at that data, and just by that data, we're going to see, what changes we're getting within temp. So my focus and my job, I say as an educator, is to get them to see the basics of it. So then this way they can use that and do more of the advanced analysis and testing just by seeing it from the most simplest standpoint. Um, and then the other part that I've seen to help people actually want to attend training is we as the educators need to, um, when we present and teach, we need to be able to keep them engaged and then not be boring and old school and monotone. Like when every time I started training, I always tell guys is, I've sat in some classes that when I wake up, it was the best class I've ever attended because I slept so freaking great. Or I always tell them sometimes, like, hey, I've sat in some classes where I was like, dang, that guy's smart. I didn't learn anything, but that guy's a genius, right? And you just get them laughing at that point, get their guards down, and then at that, you can start getting into that info. So I feel that our job as educators is not only teaching them, but also getting rid of that stigma of, oh, I'm going to go sit in a class. This is going to be boring. I'm freaking tired. You want to make them laugh, keep them engaged, and give them little tidbits that they can take back into the shop and actually apply. Because a lot of times what happens is you'll sit in a class, like I've sat in some electrical classes where they spend 2 hours talking about electrons and protons and neutrons, and it's like, how's that going to help me fix a car, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
you
right.
my thing is whatever I'm going to give you, I know you can apply because it's stuff that I use in the shop to diagnose and fix cars on a daily basis.
That's a tough gig, and I totally
Yeah,
like, I can yeah, you did a really good job of like breaking that down because most people, most guys, girls, technicians, they want to know what it is, but you're trying to teach them what it does.
right,
Right. And it's like everyone wants to go there for the golden nuggets. Everyone wants to see the case studies so that they can put that in their back and they're just tell me how to fix this one. And I'm sure you get it
yeah,
too. You always have like two or three at the end of the class. Hey, so I got this vehicle that I can't fix. What do you think it is?
right,
And it's like, and what you're trying to do is you're trying to break it down to the point where you teach them how electrons flow through a wire, right? I
right,
feel like that's like super close, but I totally understand the analogy because it's like if you understand how that works, then it doesn't matter what the problem is.
right,
Just like you're saying with the sensors, like that's huge because it's like if you just understand what a Hall effect sensor and like what signal you're looking for, like you don't like need to know, you don't need to have a comparison, right? Like you just know what it's supposed to look like.
yep.
Um, and the comparison is obviously something that I need. I mean, I'm not that good, but regardless, I mean, you can. But
Yeah.
and then obviously you probably what's your thought about using getting data before the car is broken?
That's a key thing. And that's what I always teach everybody, especially in any training I do. I always talk about know what good is, right? What I tell techs is we're so focused on trying to fix cars, we only practice on broken ones. So how do we know what a good one should look like? And then that's when people start really thinking like, damn, you're right. I've only tried to fix broken cars. So how do you know it's really broken if you've never seen a good one? And then my next follow up to that is I usually ask the guys like, when you guys do an oil change, how many guys are going on a road test? And about 50% of them were raising their hands like, great, why don't you go on a road test with the scan tool to collect known good data? You store that. So this way, when you do get a problem, if that car comes back with a problem or a similar car with a problem, now you can go back to that clean data, compare it to your bad data. Whether you know what you're looking at or not, you might see a value that's different if you went on that same road test. And that's going to kind of lead you into where you need to go for your testing. And then that's when a lot of people are like, damn, that's so basic. It's like, yeah, why not do that? Um, so that within itself is knowing what good is probably the best thing you guys can anybody could take away from a training is what is good. And like here at the school, one thing I focus on is we do a lot of labs with known good cars that we have here from either cars we're working on or our own lab cars, so the guys can see what's good. Then every so often, when we have a broken car that stayed over from a client or anything like that, I'll have them test that one so they could see the difference between the good stuff we've taught them versus what a bad one actually looks like. And most of the time, they're able to spot it simply because they've already been conditioned to what a good waveform looks like. And then when they see a bad one, it just triggers them right away.
Mm. Yeah, that's gold right there. That's the stuff that yeah, that makes you super efficient. And I think that's the stigma with like with diagnostics, right? Or like being a diagnostic technician, like you're not going to see the same problem twice, right? Not,
Right,
I mean, you probably will in a nutshell, but I mean, it's pretty rare, right? Like
right.
you're going to have the same code, but not the same culprit of the problem, whatever it is. But it just takes a long time to work through that stuff. And where you can just hang ball joints, you can just put a wheel bearing, slam a transmission in, right? You know how
Yeah.
long, like you know what you're getting paid, and you know if you beat that, then that you'll get so X amount of dollars. And the problem with the diagnostic work is it's paid per hour. And to segue kind of in the shop owner side of things, how do you set your diag techs up for success in that aspect?
Like on the financial side
Yeah,
or
just like so when it comes to like obviously charging for diagnostics, it's maybe setting up a retainer fee or do you have any insight? I mean, with you obviously have a lot of technical training and know how that works, right? A lot of shops maybe are in the process of like learning or maybe they're a brake shop and occasionally they'll get like a code and they're like, we'll just send that away. We don't deal with it,
right,
and so they don't have a good process in place, or they'll just spend 4 hours trying to figure it out, but they only charge the customer 1 hour because like, well, we're not that smart and we don't really have the stuff to do it, so we're not going to
right,
charge every hour. And meanwhile, this guy, the tech that did it's like, dude, I spent fucking half the day on that. Like, what the
right.
hell, right?
Yeah.
I mean, so what's your process when it comes to those vehicles?
So usually for like a basic, a standard testing fee, uh, every time we get a call in and be like, do you guys do diagnostics? We always get them into saying the word testing. Um, we charge for testing, not diagnostics, and I always teach that diagnostics is the end result. So the first thing is, we always talk, we call it testing. We'll start with 169. That's going to get us a full code scan, all modules, and then from there we go into we'll pinpoint initial concern of the client. If a road test is needed, we'll also do that as well. We do a thorough interview of the client at drop off. After that, my techs are going to do a standard visual inspection of like for air filter, box, stuff like that. We do a battery test on the vehicle on all vehicles that come in because we've been able to fix a lot of cars because of a dead battery. So we always do that. And then after that, my tech will usually spend about 35 to 45 minutes on the vehicle. If we're unable to locate the full or get to the root cause within that time, then my job as an advisor is to call the client and get an additional authorization. One of the best ways of getting the additional authorization is since we use a shopware, when I have the customer on the phone, I'll ask them if it's okay to text them a link. I'll send them a link over, they'll open it up, and then them and I review the test results, notes, and pictures together. So that gives them a good understanding of what we've actually tested, where we're at, and why we're requesting that extra testing time. The other way we do testing is if we hear any of the key terms is I've already did this, my mechanic already did that, it's been to X and Y Z and they couldn't figure it out. That's when we do the retainer. So typically, depending on how they speak of the fault they're having, we'll either start off with initial 5 hours cash up front or 10 hours cash up front.
Wow.
This is to show that one, they're serious, and two, we do cash, so this way they don't try to do a chargeback later after we fix it or anything like that.
That's
Uh,
smart.
so,
That's smart.
um, and the cars that we thought people were going to say no, they show up. We had a '66 Jaguar that we just did not too long ago. Guy had it at two other shops. They couldn't get it started, and I told them we need 5 hours up front. And he calls me up the next morning. He says, "Hey, car's on the tow truck, and I'm on my way." Showed up, paid. We brought the car in, and we probably used up about 3 hours of it. Got the car running. After we did so, then we ended up selling so much maintenance on this guy's car that it came out to be a really beautiful ticket at the end, and it all started with proper testing and a retainer fee at the beginning. So it works out really well, and again, it just roots out those customers that don't value your knowledge, experience, and your equipment that you have.
That's a great point. And for those listening, I mean, you are extremely educated and talented, right? You know what you're doing, and you're still
At
able to
church,
get, and you're still asking for a day of time, right? And I think I just bring that up because I think that's like one of the pain points when it comes to a lot of shop owners that are trying, they don't want to scare customers away, right? And they want to be
right,
fair and honest, and they just feel like, oh, if you can't figure it out within 2 hours, you don't know what you're doing, right?
right.
And it's
Not always true.
it's not. It's not. It can be, right? But it's
Yeah,
like they just got to listen to that and hear that. Like, dude, you got to like, how quickly does 2 hours go by when you're in an assessment? When you have, especially like it's like a 2019 or a 2020 crank no start, right? Like,
right,
sure, like put gas in it. If it doesn't
right.
start, dude, you're on like you're gonna be in for a good one.
Yeah, exactly, man. And then every so often, we'll get some cars that we think is a really severe issue, and we get it done super quickly. One of my techs, he's a B-level tech right now. We're working on him to get him into more testing. We gave him a GMC Acadia, I think it's the 2019, with a bunch of U codes, and um, I was actually helping him through the diagnostic process, and it took us 35 minutes to pinpoint a bad BCM. So, usually, people think, oh my God, U codes, network codes is going to be a super long,
Right.
strenuous problem. But with 1 hour of testing, we were able to figure out what the problem was. Then after that is we, source apart, do our markup for programming, and then you end up with a nice, beautiful ticket. And I always get asked, do you guys discount or put the diagnostic towards the repair? And I always answer with no, because if I do, then I'm devaluing my technician's knowledge, experience, training, and all the equipment that my technician uses to actually fix the car.
Well, that's
And
what fixed the car. If anything, they should be asking for a discount on the actual repair, right? Like,
yeah, exactly, exactly. But they look at it as like, oh, well, can I get a discount for the testing? Like, absolutely not.
yeah, I mean, if anything, it should be the repair. Like that's
Yeah,
anybody can hang the part. Like
right.
it's like
Yeah, man.
the old adage of the old man that walks out there when no one can get that engine started, right? And he goes and he hits the hammer, right? And he's like,
Yep.
the hammer tap was $1.99, but it was $1,000 to know where to hit it, right?
Where to hit it. Exactly, man. And that
But
that holds true so well, man.
and I love the testing and inspection. That's one thing that we do a lot is what we do every time is advanced assessment. There is no diagnostics, right? Like everything we write down the same thing. Everything's an advanced assessment. That's all we're doing. We come
Yep,
in for the assessment and it's like, well, couldn't find it right away, so let's do an advanced assessment on whatever system that we need to move forward with.
exactly.
And like you said I like that what you said with the communication fault because that's what scares the hell out of everybody, right? But it
Yeah,
goes back to training. Like if you know how the circuit works, it simplifies it so much, right? If you're just
100%.
looking for terminating resistors and you just check to see if your terminating resistors are good, like you don't really need to mess with anything else, right? You got a power or ground fault, like nine
Yeah,
times out of 10. That saved my ass. Was it yesterday or the day before? I have a Duramax here that had a crank no start, and it went to another shop, and I'm fairly certain the other shop decided to like start messing with the fuse box. Well, it's a 2019, so it's got the little they flip up and the fuse box disconnects from the main connectors.
right.
You know what I'm talking about? So they
Hmm.
they obviously had that up, and when they cranked it down, they just shoved it down and didn't click in all the way. So when it comes in, I got a crank no start with no
No,
communication. I'm like, oh boy, here we go. Like this will be a good one.
right.
But check. The terminating resistor, everything's fine. I'm like, oh, that's really strange, right? And I checked
Right.
and the knock sensor's got that one. So I checked all the can lines. There was nothing open, nothing short. Everything was where it needed to be. And I'm like, okay, so it's power or ground. So I go right to the fuse box and I see that and I'm like, oh shit. Click it down, boom, communication back. Still doesn't start, but
At least now it's talking.
right
Yeah.
now it's talking, but it's like I'm like, hey, did you guys mess around with the fuse box? No, I don't think so. I'm like, oh yeah, you did. Came from another shop, right? So I'm like, no, you guys are dicking around. Why? Like, don't touch it. Like next time, just don't touch nothing, right?
Yeah. Oh,
But
we
it's
see
like
that a lot.
yeah, cause yeah, and that stuff. That's the stuff that like, well, I shouldn't have to, be charged for that, or how do I charge? I'm like, I'm charging 100% for that, like, cause I went through the process and did exactly what I was supposed to do, and it's not my fault the truck is broken. Like, I didn't break it. Like, if anything, go back to their shop that was messing with it. But still, at that point in time, they were trying to help you too. So we had to get back to square one. And there's a
Right.
conversation that they just had earlier this afternoon. Like, oh well, I didn't have a problem with anybody, checking codes before. It's like, well, you did now, and so now you used up the first initial assessment fee, and now we have to go into the next step, which is probably find the disco party in the high pressure fuel pump, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
More than
And
likely, but I don't know. I don't know. Like let's not jump to conclusions just yet.
might be grenaded inside, right?
It's a disco party.
Oh man, and you're right on that, Jimmy. It's some shops, dude. They'll be like, "Well, can we do something, man? How am I gonna charge the customer? Figure it out, man. But I'm gonna charge you because I'm not doing it for free."
It's like, well, rent's probably due in a couple weeks, so maybe think about that, huh? And
Yeah,
figure out how you're gonna
yeah,
pay rent.
yeah. Usually when I teach classes and I know there's a lot of shop owners in there, I'll make up a joke like, when your Snap-on guy shows up for his payment, tell him you're not gonna pay him that week because you didn't charge for any of the diagnostics.
Hmm.
And they're like, "Well, he'll tell me he'll pick up the tool." What does that tell you? Why aren't you charging for testing?
Right.
So that's why it's always important that we charge for it. And I use that too, like when people call the shop and they say, "Oh, well, can you guys will you guys deduct it from the repair?" I always tell them like no, and most shops that do that, they do that because they're not confident in their testing. So they're not charging you. So if they're wrong, you don't get mad at them. And a lot of people are like, "Oh, wow, that makes sense." Like, yeah, it's a reason.
Because it's
And some
true.
of yeah, and some of them you can convert as clients, and others you don't. And the ones you don't, it's fine. There's another shop somewhere that hang some parts on it, and then they'll come back.
What's your no on that topic? Like, what's your thought of like learning on the job, right? So like, and that's one thing I've always come across. Like, well, I've never seen a 2025, right? No one
Right?
has, right?
No.
Like we all got a kind of an idea of like how that stuff works,
Right.
in theory. But like I've never seen a problem like that before. I'm gonna have to work. So if you just take that mindset and work on that, like maybe you've never seen a 1990 Chevy 1500, right? Like who knows, right? So what's your thought on like charging to teach yourself? If that makes sense.
I feel that it should still be done as long as you're not causing more harm than good.
Hmm,
So there are some techs that they might
that's a good point.
they've never seen that type of issue before, and then they start probing stuff here and there, and they take out a module. Well, that right there is not something the client should be responsible for because that was done by the tech. So the shop at that point would have to cover that. But in most cases, if let's a tech's doing, for example, this Acadia that we were doing, if my tech was doing it by himself, he would have probably done it in about an hour and a half or so. Because I was side by side with them, we were able to go through the processes a little bit faster. So if he would have done it within an hour and a half, I would have still billed the 1 hour because I know that he's actually learning, but I'm not docking him for that. I'm taking that hit as a shop owner.
Hmm,
So it just depends on how the shop's actually doing it. But my biggest thing is, if as long as you don't cause any more damage, then yes, you should be compensated for kind of learning on that client's vehicle.
yeah, and that's that. Like what you had said. That's like the one thing that's always in the back of my mind. It's obviously in the back of your mind, and that's I think everyone is like kind of the elephant in the room when it comes to diagnostics. Is I'm not comfortable. Like I understand it to a point, but if it's the first time I've seen it, then I feel like I should maybe wiggle that down a little bit because the next time I'll know I'll do it a lot faster, and
Right.
and I mean, I don't know what the right answer is for that, right? Like that's just something that we all kind of learn and kind of progress as we go.
Yeah.
Maybe if you spent 5 hours chasing your tail a little bit, like that was on me, right? So there's a lot
Yeah.
of the common sense, right, that has to kind of like think outside the box a little bit, and like if all of
Hmm.
a sudden you start chasing down this rabbit hole, we got to crank no start here, and I was just talking with my diag tech about like which direction to go, and it was we have everything we need, and we're either talking let's check timing because the fuel pump was just replaced by another shop and all that stuff, but we're like, okay, do we go into timing or do we look for an exhaust restriction because we have air, we have fuel, and we have spark. So the magic triangle's there.
Yeah.
It's either not breathing or we have a timing issue. And it's like, so what do we spend this last 20 minutes on? Right. But I can see a lot of the time some shops, I'll just check both because I need to make sure I check both. Well, now you're
Right.
definitely going to be 2 hours over time that you're not going to get paid for. Right. But sometimes you'll go way off left field and you're checking something like, well, let me check the fuel injectors, and you check it with a test light. And then all of a sudden you find, oh, I got no injector pulse because and then come to find out because it's a freaking Nissan, like, well, they go too fast and you're not going to see it with a test light, right? So then you spend
Right.
30 minutes like chasing back into the PCM to find out, oh, I'm just an idiot.
Yeah. Yeah.
so,
Exactly.
so that those kinds of situations is like where I run across sometimes, and it's like, man, should I charge for that? But it doesn't feel right because I know in my heart of hearts I'm like I was an idiot and I'm just like moving too fast. So it's tough, man. It's a tough thing to
Yeah.
do. But if your diag rate, do you have a higher diag rate than everything else?
It tends to be more diags than anything else at the moment.
I
We're
mean
trying
the
to
I mean the
pledge that.
hourly rate. Do you charge more per hour for the diag rate versus like your labor rate?
We're working on that right now.
Okay.
We're it's level playing field, but I'm slowly raising it up. We just went up $20 the first,
Okay.
so our diag right now is 20 more than our standard labor time. Progressively, I want to get it to where we're almost 100. We're almost $100 over for testing than it is for actual repair.
That makes sense. And
Yeah.
that for me making that change helped me kind of quantify those situations where I'm like, okay, I screwed up, but they're paying a premium, so I'm going to knock that time off because I was just wasn't thinking straight. Or I didn't take the time to look up the service information. I decided to just like, I think I know how this works, right?
Right. Service info. Nobody has time for that.
Should I look that up? Is that like a that's pretty important?
Yeah, it's like, nah, we don't need to see that.
Should I know like what the sensor parameters are before I start testing, or do I just like look at the numbers and say that seems right?
Yeah, I think we all kind of just shoot from the hip and just look at the data and be like,
Well, I think we're all hoping
that's
for like
okay.
we're all hoping for like an open or a short, right? Like the two
Right.
extreme. Like I hope I see something like that. Then it's like lands in the like, oh well, is that right or is that not
Yep.
right?
Yeah, it's just like fuel pressure testing, man. It's like, oh, there's no Schrader valve. Yeah, fuel pressure's fine. We don't need to test it.
Yeah, you just put a little.
So
Yeah, it's got a little squirt. It should be good.
yeah, it went over the fender. We're fine. Uh, those kinds of things. It happens, man. We're in the shop. Sometimes we're just like, no, no, it can't be that. But little tidbits. Wide open throttle acceleration goes full enrichment mode, and that's a good way to verify fuel delivery.
Yeah, yeah.
So little stuff like that.
And that's all the stuff too. I think in training events when you get to be around the camaraderie of the other people and like I think that's the real value in a lot of training events that I've been to
Yep.
is just talking to the guys after and picking up those little things because
Yep.
it's all like mind people. They're all there trying to learn. And the one thing I hate is when no one wants to ask a question because they don't want to feel stupid, right?
Yeah.
And it's like I'll sit in the front of the class and I'll ask the like whatever question, right? Like let's engage, right? Like
Yeah.
why do you pay to go to this class if you just want to sit in the back and just like what are you waiting for? Are you waiting for the golden nugget like just to fall in
Yeah.
your lap?
Yeah, man. And for everybody listening and watching, we love the questions because it helps us make the class longer, more engaging, and it's not just our voice throughout 3, 4 hours of training. It's you guys giving input. So the more you guys can participate, and sometimes when I sit in, other educators' classes, I'll ask questions to kind of help them, or I saw they missed something, and I'll ask a question to kind of bring that topic up, and then that usually starts revolving that whole subject matter they're delivering, and it helps out really well. So, if any of you guys sit in a class, please ask, because that helps us better deliver the information to you guys.
Yeah, it's like they just sit there like they're in high school and like they're just like waiting for the bell to ring, right? Like, why are you here right now? Like,
Right.
and I see it in like shop coaching too. Like, I've seen it in advisor coaching. I've seen it in shop coaching. I've seen it like it's like you're just like waiting for the buzzer so you can go home. Like, we're adults now, man, and we're
Yeah.
paying for this. Like, what are you doing? Like, ask some engaging something. Do something.
Right. That's the key thing, man. You're paying for it. That's what I tell
You're
some of my
paying.
students in class. I'm like, you guys realize, also I'll ask them, how many of you guys got this class for free? And nobody raised their hand. So I'm like, why aren't you guys asking questions? And if you paid for it, why don't you want to get the most out of it? And that usually breaks the ice for them. And that's when they'll start asking stuff shortly after.
Yeah. It's like my time's not free, man. Like, and you
Yeah.
got it right now for an hour. So like,
Yeah. Dude, you're paying for this, man. Come on. What do you got?
and you're like, I'll just sit here. I don't care. I'm getting paid either way.
Yeah, exactly, man. Yep.
Oh, that's cool. And so obviously you've enjoyed it over the time. Do you see what's the future hold for you and when it comes to the teaching side?
For me, man, honestly, I just want to keep helping. Like my mentor told me, he said that I had to pay it forward, so I want to make sure that I can help as many techs as I possibly can. As our mission is bettering the automotive industry one technician at a time. And being that I'm a firm believer in an investment in education pays the best interest, the more we can invest in ourselves as technicians, the more we're able to increase our value to the marketplace and have more income. So for me, as an educator and as a school, I just want to still have the ability to be out there and help other techs in any way that I possibly can, as long as it fits into my realm, which is emissions, drivability, and electrical. I can definitely help anybody. So my hoping that as time progresses, I get to teach in all continents and help out further. So far, I've taught in Mexico City in auto mechanica, and I've taught several states here in the United States. So I still got some work to do, but whatever I can do to help anybody, that's what I'm here for.
That's awesome, man. Well said.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, that's freaking awesome. Well, if anybody's looking to
Yes, sir.
get in touch with you, I know. Speaking of teaching, you got to go get ready to do your class tonight.
Yep.
So you're practicing what you're preaching. So there's like nothing better
Yes,
than that.
sir.
That's
Not
right.
at all, man.
So if anybody's looking to
But
get in touch with you, what's your how do they get hold of you?
So they can reach us at smartautotraining.com. That's our website. Or they can contact the school directly, which is 909 We're in the Southern California area. So if you guys want to reach out, sometimes if you get lucky, I might be answering phones that day, and you guys can call and I might pick up. If not, it's usually going to be Sandy taking the calls, and we're more than happy to work with you guys and help you guys in anything we possibly can.
Representing Cali. That's right.
Yes, sir.
The best coast.
Yep.
I don't care what anybody thinks. What is it?
Yeah,
What is it? What is it? Is it what is it? 70 degrees right now? Yeah.
yeah, man. It's
Yeah.
nice and fresh out here.
What are we at?
Uh,
We're June 5th. Yeah, 70 degrees.
yeah, we're waiting for those hot days, man. Once we start getting into the hundreds over here in Southern California, it's gonna be nice and
Uh,
crispy.
yeah, it's only for like a month though. It's
Yeah,
only for a
I
month and
mean,
only like the last part of the day. It's like from like 1 to 4, and it's not even that big of a deal.
yep, hottest time of the day.
We go to Texas and it's like 100 degrees by like 10, and it stays that way till 8 o'clock at night. So
Oh, yep.
I'm good. I'll just stay here.
I know. I taught in Florida, what was it, in November, and the humidity, man. Ugh, I can't. I like dry heat.
Yeah, I'll pay a little bit more. You just got to charge a little more, and then everything's fine, right?
Yeah,
Or the
that's it, man.
evil, be the evil shop owner and just charge a little more so you can get your quality of life up.
Yeah, just make sure you're marking up your parts and you're fine.
That's it. You're good. Well, right on, man. I appreciate you coming on and taking some time, and this was a lot of
Uh,
fun.
Thank you, Jimmy. I appreciate it, buddy.
Listen, if you're anything like me, you know the struggles of inconsistent car count and tight margins. That's where Repair Shop of Tomorrow comes in. They help shop owners like us increase sales, improve efficiency, and grow our businesses with proven strategies. Check them out at repairshopoftomorrow.com today and start growing tomorrow.